Hey guys, this is your friendly neighborhood DJ Xquizit. Today we're going to be talking about Spotify. Alright, so first off, why Spotify? Well, Beatport's kind of dead. And so is iTunes. iTunes is actually getting discontinued February of 2019. So stores are going the wayside. And Beatport, let me just go ahead and give you an example. SEAL Team Rigs. If you want to go ahead and look it up online, I'll include images during this video so you can see for yourself. SEAL Team Rigs was a track of mine that I released in August of last year. I was able to get it into the iTunes top 10 in France, the UK, Mexico, Turkey, all over the place. It was also on Beatport. It was number 16 and it stayed there for a couple weeks. On top of that, this track was also picked up by a nationally syndicated DJ on the radio. He would have it as a background track whenever he spoke in between tracks. It got to the point where it even charted in the French national chart. This is the Billboard equivalent, the biggest chart that you can get in France, and it managed to get in at number 143. So it did a ton of sales on Beatport, on iTunes, on Juno, on all of these different charts. It also happened to have been picked up on Spotify. I figured out how to send them tracks and it worked. At first it got on Friday Crate Diggers. It generated like 1,000, 1,500 listeners. The following week it was picked up for Fresh Electronic. Fresh Electronic, it did get a considerable amount of plays. Several thousand, 3, 5, even 10,000 per day, depending on which position it was in. And it was just in those playlists for 2 weeks. Thanks to it getting those players, it influenced Spotify's algorithm where it started picking it up for Release Radar, for Discover Weekly. When I say that word, influence the algorithm, I'm gonna have an entire episode about what that means and what Release Radar is, Discover Weekly, what that is. So, the point I'm trying to make is that after all the sales, after just 100,000 of the plays were tabulated, I got the sales report. And I'm sorry to say, but Beatport, even though it charted in the top 20 for 2 weeks, it only generated like $40, $50 worth of sales. iTunes, even with taking into consideration it being in a national chart, it only generated like $60 or $70 worth of revenue. But Spotify, with just 100,000, right now it has 250,000 or more, but just the first 100,000, it blew everything else out of the water. With Spotify, I didn't really have to do anything. All I had to do was submit. And it ended up making me triple, quadruple the amount of money that I made from the stores. That is why we need to focus all of our attention on Spotify. I want to give you 3 other examples beside myself. Alan Walker. Go ahead and look him up. Look up one of his oldest tracks called Fade. It's the instrumental version of Faded. That track, by itself, without label support, without anything, generated something like 5 million streams in the first couple months. It got to the point where Sony Music Sweden picked him up. And it was, go ahead and license the track to us, we'll get a vocal, see what's going on. If you look up in the top 100 streamed tracks of all time on Spotify, it's in there. It's one of the most streamed tracks of all time. Another pretty good example is Chainsmokers. These guys on their own, before any of the famous songs, they were generating millions of streams. I think they had like 15 million streams before they got picked up. Columbia Records, what they did is they went ahead and hit them up. And they said, look, we need a hit track. We see you working your magic with Spotify. You're doing a great job. We want to see if this can be turned into something bigger. So they brought up the idea. They spoke with Dimac. Dimac said, no problem. We'll get some radio pushers. We'll get everything for you. We'll make it a hit. Selfie came out. And everybody knows what success that was. Afterwards, you got their album on Columbia Records. You know, it's its own story. The final example I want to give you guys is Cardi B. Now she's a rapper, so it's not so appropriate to the trance scene, but take a look at her now versus when she first started. She was releasing a lot of stuff through DistroKid, basically without a label. But she kept sending it to the curators at Spotify, and it kept getting picked up. Every week you would find her on Rap Caviar. Rap Caviar is what's used now as the benchmark of what hip hop is going to be or what it is. So again, these guys took notice, and look at her now. Our collaborations with Bruno Mars, with, well, pretty much everybody. So what I'm trying to communicate is Spotify is not only a moneymaker, it is also this stepping stone to actually get into the majors. A lot of you guys, I'm pretty sure, or just want to get signed to Armada. That's fine. If you're thinking about going Sony, Universal, Warner, and all of their sub-labels like Columbia and everything else, you need to start thinking bigger. Spotify is one of the ways, one of the cheaper ways, if you really think about it, when we're talking about radio pushers, where in one country, one radio station, you have to drop 2,000 euros per month just for them to play it. And that's not even payola, that's just through radio pushers. Yeah, Spotify seems to be the best option. Before we continue any further, do me a favor. Go ahead and if you're on Facebook, go ahead and click notifications. On YouTube, same. I have a bunch of these videos ready to upload. I want to go ahead and start doing them every few days. I'm going to cover all kinds of topics, not just Spotify. Right now, I'm just trying to get you guys excited, but I'm going to give you guys specifics on future videos. The other thing that would be awesome if you guys were to do is go ahead and go on Spotify and just follow me as an artist. DJ Xquizit, Sabian, in Cypher, XPHER. Just follow me. I'll explain in a future video why that's so important. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'll go ahead and prep up the next video, upload it in a couple days. Thank you guys again. Peace.